Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Missing Pieces with Nicole Cogdell on Guess What? CMP Radio. So please share this live. If you have friends that have children who have special needs, please share this live. If you have some concerns about children, share this live. So, our topic tonight is going to be on extended school year services. That is a section on IEPs. It is near the end, pretty much right under related services and consultative services. On some IEPs, it may even be before. So, what is extended school year services? Or in special education jargon, what is ESY? So, extended school year services is required for all children who have IEPs. So, if your child has an IEP, when I say it has to be considered, it's just that any child with an IEP, ESY has to be considered. What does IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Act, that's the federal statute that all of this jargon comes under. So IDEA is kind of like I want to say the president of the group, right? And then you know how you have the vice president, you know, that's kind of like your procedural safeguards. And then it's different columns that come underneath that. Okay, so what does IDEA, what does the president, what does the federal statute say about extended school year? So I'm going to provide you with the codes too because I want you to do your research. Just don't trust the process because of the fact of it being me. And understand this is not, I am not an attorney, I'm an advocate. Okay, so this isn't legal advice, it's just some suggestions. So under 34 CFR Part 300 NIDEA regulations, not the act, but the regulations, extended school year services must be provided only if a child's IEP determines on an individual basis in accordance with 300.340 to 300.350 that the service are necessary for the provision of FAPE to the child. FAPE, what is that, Nicole? FAPE in special education jargon is a free and appropriate education. Okay, so, all right, Nicole, so what is that? You just said all of that to say what? The term extended school year means special education and related services that are provided to a child with a disability beyond the normal school year of the public agency in accordance with the child's IEP. So it could be during the summertime. It can be during holiday time. It can be any extended time beyond the regular school year. That's what ESY is, any regular time. So, okay, my child has an IEP. I've been asking about this extended school year, and they said that, you know what, they don't qualify. Your child just don't qualify for ESY. That's what I've been told, but I don't understand this stuff anyway. Okay, you're right where you need to be. Okay, how do you determine if a child qualifies? So we're going to talk about the rate of progress. How is your child progressing? Okay. Often parents rely just on report cards or what the teacher says. This IEP team meeting, you're a member of the team. It has to be a collaboration. You should be able to see progress as it relates to education because anything that you learn in school, it should be able to transition into regular life. When you're learning words, you can see it through a child reading a menu, reading directions, you spending time reading a book. It could be something simple as, when you're driving, having your child help you with, hey, I need a little bit of help, reading the signs, the stop signs, the, do not enter signs, because they're words, right? So the rate of progress, basically, how is your child progressing? That's one criteria. The next is the degree of the impairment. And with the degree of the impairment, we're going to drill down a little bit more, because there are certain classifications: autism, intellectual disability, and we'll go over some other qualifications, right? That is a particular legal statute. It's a case called Armstrong versus Klein. And we'll get into more details about the degree of impairment. Also, your child's behavior or physical problems. Some people think that extended school year is just academically. No, it's also behaviorally as well. So if the IEP, or because remember, you're a part of the team. If your child has been able to show progress in terms of social skills, if your child has been able to show progress in terms of anger management. So basically, we're looking for a baseline in terms of your child's behavior. You know, um, Maybe your child has had altercations every single day, right? And with the progress, instead of every other day, the altercations are going down to maybe, 3 times a week or 2 times a week. That's showing progress. However, if it's elevating, then basically it's showing regression. We'll talk about that. Vocational and transitional needs of the child, and your child's ability to interact with children who do not have disabilities. Now, how much do you have to pay for all of this stuff? If the services, if ESY is needed for your child to receive a free and appropriate public education, basically the school district would then provide, those services. So now let's really, 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 dive down deep in terms of extended school year, in terms of qualifications. So school districts must provide ESY when a child's IEP team determines that ESY services are necessary to offer a free and appropriate public education. Common eligibility mistakes. Now, listen to these mistakes. These are a lot of the mistakes that are made. Includes qualifying children just because summer services will benefit them because they have failed to make progress during the school year, or because they fall within a particular disability category. That's not it. We're not just going to make stuff up during the summertime just to say, okay, they didn't do well all year long, so now let's just throw them and extend the school year. No, that's not the reason. Or because of the fact that every child every child that's autistic does not need extended school year services. So what determines that a child does need extended school year services? That is when your child will not recoup. Now, that's special education jargon. We're going to talk about recoup. When your child cannot adequately recoup skills lost to summer regression. So, okay. Like those spelling words and different things. Hey, Nicole, my child knows that spelling list. Like they're home. I went over all those words, and Derek recited all of those words. Then he go to school, right, and failed a spelling test. Now, I don't understand. Say you need to stay off the game. and stop playing. What you talking in class? Like, how do we go over these words at home, and then you get to school and you act like we haven't gone over the homework, like we haven't talked in the car, like we wasn't talking during dinner time. Now you go to school and you don't know any of the words. We done went over. I done made you write it 1,000 times. So you gonna start writing those words even more, and stop playing on the video games. Okay? We think as parents we done really did something. But let me ask you something, parents. When you ask Derek to recite the spelling words, right? You were talking out of your mouth, which is auditory. Derek was talking out of his mouth, which was auditory. But you asked Derek to do something kinesthetically and use the fine and gross motor skills. If you, whichever way your child tests in school, if it's multiple choice, have Derek do the spelling words multiple choice, if that's what the IEP is calling for, if that is the specially designed instruction. Okay? If Derek is going to recite it, then Derek recites it. If Derek has to write it, let Derek write it. Okay? Now Nicole, what do they have to do with recouption? Because of the fact that when you are asking Derek something, they are recouping the information. They're bringing up what you taught them. You know what I mean? It's the repetition. It's the repetition. So with recouption, how long does it take? If Derek and I did the spelling words, and Monday through Friday, Derek knew the spelling words. Okay? We took the test. Now Derek knew all of the words. We give Derek the test on Monday. Now, how much information can he recoup? So he's taking a test on Monday to see how much information he was able to recoup and how much information he was able to retain. How much information was retained, and then when asked to do a certain thing, like a test, how long did it take to recoup? So basically for extended school year, children get tested in all areas, both academically and behaviorally, before a natural school break and then directly after the natural school break, because we are looking to see how much information was Derek able to retain and recoup. And it has to be before and after a natural school break. Okay, it could even be before a holiday break. It could be, before the winter break, after the winter break, before the spring break, after the school break. We're looking for recouption, one category. The second one was, we'll lose emergent skills. Listen, if the whole summer goes by, is Derek just going to totally crash, right? By the time September comes, these emergent skills, these skills that are really important for Derek to continue all of that foundational work, right? Is Derek going to lose some emergent skills? That's the second one. So recouption, are they going to learn some, will they lose some pertinent skills? Then the third one is, will be severely hampered in progressing towards the IEP. With this summertime break, is it going to cause some significant problems that pretty much, if the child is leaving in June and then Derek is coming back in September, how long is it going to take Derek to recoup all of the information that Derek should have retained from the prior school year? If it's going to take 6 months, now Derek he's already behind in certain areas, and now he has regressed. So the whole purpose of extended school year is to somewhat stop the bleed, okay? Continue to ensure that those particular skills that was learned throughout the entire year, that Derek can still progress. And that's behaviorally too. We don't want it so in June, where Derek had altercations every period, all day long. Now it's been reduced, right? Derek is on a good path. Those social skill groups are working. The anger management is working. All of those things are working. So if we take it and we interrupt the services and we test Derek before the break, because that should have already been done now. It should have already been done. Testing before and after the natural school break. I cannot stress that anymore. I really want you to get that. Okay. Before or after the break. Okay, before the break, he was doing X, Y, and Z. And then after the break, did he regress some? And if it was some regression, after a couple more groups, how long did it take for Derek to get back on baseline? Okay, because we're looking for that line. We're looking for that fine line. Okay. And let me say this here to you parents. Okay. I'm talking about me. I don't want to talk about anybody else right now other than me. It is my belief that everybody got a behavior problem. Okay. What you mean everybody have a behavior problem? Everybody don't have no behavior problem. Listen, for the mothers and fathers out here, remember what we talked about a couple weeks ago, which was fast triggers, right? That's that thing when you hit it, you become very upset. It's just like when somebody says something offensively, or if you feel like somebody is hurting your child. We often hear Mama Bear come out or Papa Bear come out. That's that fast trigger. Now, if somebody might walk down the street and say, you know what, your shoes is ugly, you may not pay that any mind. That is a slow trigger. So for some children who have behaviors, right? It's because we're constantly hitting those. They don't know how to address when those fast triggers are constantly being hit. Okay. Some people have not learned those strategies. Hell, I didn't learn a lot of the strategies until I became older, because my mood was either I was happy or I was not happy at all. Okay. It was either one or another. I had to be taught the strategies in the middle. And it literally took for me to be older to learn those skills. Okay. So with the behaviors, right? We want children to learn the skills, and we want to make sure that during the summertime that they're not going to lose the skills that they've learned. Okay. If they have, then we really need to consider ESY. Now, data collection. How are we coming up with that? How are we coming up with the data? Because we have to analyze data before and after a natural break. Okay, for example, we don't compare a child's score from fifth grade reading passage in August with a May score from fourth grade. Can't do it. We are literally talking about before and after the natural school break. I cannot begin to say that anymore. And then we will look at different goals and objectives on your child's current IEP, because during the summertime, we don't want to overload, because we want to maintain. Okay. But everybody needs a break. Hint, hint, parents. Everybody needs a break. Okay. So with extended school year, a lot of times it may just be 6 to 8 weeks. And we want to go over those goals, right? That we really don't want the child to miss, that we really want to make sure that we're sustaining those specific goals and objectives. Okay. And also with ESY, if your children will even regress if they get occupational therapy, right? That needs to be a conversation. If your children receive speech and language therapy, that needs to be a conversation. Physical therapy, assistive technology, all of those related services, they need to be considered as a part of ESY as well. So let's go back a little bit. Remember, the extended school year portion on the IEP is literally on the IEP. Go to some of those back pages, okay? You don't just want to hear, no, my child doesn't qualify for extended school year. You need to request a copy of the testing that was done before the natural school break and after the natural school break. My suggestion is that you request a copy of your child's records, okay? That you request a copy of your child's records prior, specifically for just any time, but definitely before extended school year. Okay, I want you to look at your procedural safeguards because you're going to hear, well, with the records, we have 45 days to give you the records. Absolutely, if it's not a IEP meeting. However, under the procedural safeguards, you can ask for a copy of the records prior to a IEP meeting, or any meeting that is being used to determine evaluation, identification of placement, or any disciplinary meetings. Okay, so please, parents, let's go back to those procedural safeguards. You need to see it. You want to see what happened before and after the natural school break, and you want to look at dates. You want to compare dates, because we're not going into last year, 2 years ago, 19 years ago. No, before, after natural school break. That's what we're talking about. And now, whoo, sorry. Now, that was a lot of information, right? It was a lot of information for me too. Now, let's talk about Armstrong versus Klein. Now, with extended school year, will Armstrong versus Klein, right? And you can definitely look it up. There is a specific timeline for making decisions about extended school year by February the 28th if your children fall under the following categories: autism, pervasive developmental disorder, okay? Serious emotional disturbance, severe intellectual disability, degenerative impairment with mental involvement, and severe multi-disability, okay? If your children fall under any of those categories, extended school year should have been determined by February the 28th. And that's specifically Armstrong versus Klein, okay? And that same data definitely has to be collected. So I'm going to look on the chat and see if there are any questions. Okay, I don't see any. Okay, I don't see any. So I know that this was a lot of information, and I try to drill it down, as much as possible. And I, try to be respectful of time. My name is Nicole Cogdell. I am actually, we're doing a training. We're doing a training on May the 9th and May the 23rd for parents who just may be interested in learning about IEPs and this massive maze in terms of special needs and IEPs. Okay, so I'm having a in-person class and I'm having a hybrid class. I really would prefer for as many people to attend the in-person class as possible. It's $5. You'll be provided with different instructions. It's definitely called the Missing Pieces. It's a 2-week course because I really would like to train and get other people on board in terms of being a special education advocate. This 2-week course, we're going to be going over a lot. It's definitely going to be intense. And then I will be offering even a more extensive course where, because it's different frameworks. It's set frameworks for assistive technology. It is functional behavior assessments. It's transitional planning. It's vocational planning. It's related services. It's a lot. So that people are not overwhelmed. Basically, this class is definitely being offered. Please, I only have a few slots in terms of in person, but CMP Radio and I are going to do something really funky virtually. So definitely, get in contact with me. You can inbox me or you can even call me on my Madison's Place cell phone at 267-309-1202. Also, we can do different services. Again, it's going to be in collaboration with CMP because they definitely are great in terms of the technology, where we will be doing different types of hybrid models as well. Also, I'm looking for people to, assist with even sponsoring the show. So if you are interested in sponsoring my show or even being on the show, and you would like to help the special needs community, definitely get in contact with me again at 267-309 1202. Later on, we'll be doing some series even with the waiver program, breaking it down into different age groups. For from 0 to 100, we'll be able to break down the different waiver programs and what true transitional services look like when young people graduate from school. So if you have any questions about extended school year services, definitely you can inbox me, but please consider attending that course. I really would like to thank Leslie and, Jean-Pierre for allowing me to, just pour out and give my different expertise. I have been advocating for children with special needs for over 32 years. I also have expertise in 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, GIEPs. I understand comprehensive evaluation reports, as well as different testing that can be used. So parents, please, if you are, looking for an advocate or a team of advocates, please just let me know. But Chester City, we are the change that we would like to see. And the way that we really bring about change is to make sure that we are knowledgeable and equipped with the information. So when they say that each one teach one, that's exactly what it means. So, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And again, should you have any questions, please get in contact with me. In terms of the in-person, I only have 5 slots. It's $5 a class. I only have 5 slots. However, I do have people from all across the country and even people locally that will be a part of the hybrid class. So thank you so very much and have a good evening.
CMPRadio.net, it's the station. Listen, man, let's cultivate together. Bring us all your show ideas, content creators.